Well, fix it.
How?
Turn your phone and then turn it back.
Yeah, you never been on the podcast, huh?
There we go.
The world is
Good
watching
evening, good
live.
evening, good evening, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, all of you. Welcome to the Touching You Talk show. Tonight, we have a very special episode. You see four people on here, but when you look at this, you are seeing one, two, three generations of Diggs men all at the same time.
Three
So,
strong.
round of
Three
applause. Three
strong.
generations strong, three
Three
generations
strong.
strong. Thank you to Elder Sheila Black for allowing us to
Thank
bring
you,
this
Sheila.
monumentous occasion together right before Father's Day. So, if you're looking at the screen, this gentleman right here is my father. This gentleman right here under me is my son. So, there's three generations. And then right here to the corner of me, that's my little brother, his uncle, his son. Three generations of Diggs men all in one place. This is definitely something you don't see often because not only do you rarely ever see three generations of one family still alive together, but three generations of one family that get along.
Yeah.
Except for when we're on the basketball court, it's
Yeah,
different.
yeah. Get it
It's
right. Get
different
it
when
right.
we're on the basketball. All
Yo.
right, so today's episode title is Legacy Lessons and Love, What Fatherhood Means Across Generations. Obviously, only two of us understand what fatherhood is. So we're also going to get some insights from y'all side on, being young men in this generation of young men, really. I mean, there's no other way to put it. So we're gonna take our time. Apologies for the delay. We had some technical difficulties and traffic. Any of y'all in DFW, you know how bad traffic is anytime
Mm-hmm.
after when the sun comes up. So but we're gonna do a couple quick introductions because I know you guys have seen me before. I know you've all seen Pastor Diggs, my dad, before, but we're gonna go ahead and let y'all do a couple quick introductions real quick, and then we're gonna dive right into it.
Who's going first? We going back. We
Y-
going in order.
We're gonna go in order of age.
All right. That Alex first, huh?
No, that
Me?
would be you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just trying to give
We're going. We're
audience. I
going
know
top
me and
down.
Pastor Patrick Diggs. I've been on with Miss Sheila several times. God bless you, Sheila. Thank you for your work and for your diligence and what you do in the community. But I've been pastoring here now for 19 years. Like I said, this is my firstborn son, Jordan, who's doing an excellent job to follow in my footsteps. Pastor of the New Fellowship Church for 19 years, and I wouldn't say I'm very accomplished, but I'm successful because I can say I raised my sons in the admonition of the Lord, and to see them on this podcast following in my footsteps is gives me a measure of humility and pride and success. So I'm grateful to be on today. And if you're ever looking for a church to be a part of, you can always visit New Fellowship at 5420 Flamingo Road on Sunday mornings. We do church different, but we do church the right way. Glad to be on tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. JR, you're next.
I gotta say as much as he said, or what?
No, no, you don't have to do all of that.
I'm JR. I'm JR. I'm James Diggs. I'm 15. That's really it. I go to a charter school. I'm a good singer. I play drums at his church. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it.
So you're a singer,
At
huh?
our
You
church,
like
just
you got
come
an
to
album
y'all's
coming
church
out?
one day when I'm gone.
No. I sing
When the
not
album
like that.
coming
Not
out?
like that. No, not like that. I sing. It's like a part of a school. I'm a part of the Texas Boys Choir, but
Okay.
it's a pretty good world class choir. They like travel around the world. We just got back from Hawaii in April.
Must be
But
nice.
Okay, okay.
yeah.
Must be
That's all. That's
nice.
pretty much what I do. That's what I do.
All right, Jordan.
Uh, my name's Jordan. I'm 13 years old. Um, I, what do I do? I play a couple sports. I play football, play basketball, and this is my first time on a podcast, so happy to be here, and I'm happy to, or I'm ready to talk. Yeah.
All right. All right. Remember you said that. You said that. Ready to talk. And of course, you all know
I'm
who I
ready to
am. I'm
talk.
no stranger. No stranger to the podcast. I'm Jordan Diggs. I have other aliases, but tonight I'm just father and son and older brother. Um, so let's get right into it. So First segment I got for us, we're gonna, we've already done the introductions and things like that, but this first question is gonna be for you, Dad. It's what does the word fatherhood mean to you?
Um, Fatherhood is, I think I touched on it a little bit yesterday in church, and I don't want to re-preach the sermon, but a lot of men, just by gender, are males. And that doesn't mean that they are real men just because they're males. But a fatherhood to me means when you have been given the opportunity to birth another male and show him what it means to be a man in God's eyes. Like I said, just because you're a male doesn't mean that you're a man. But if you're able to provide for your family, if you're able to show love, demonstrate love, show that you care, be stern, give some rules and regulations, set boundaries and standards. When you live your life like that, I do believe that, first of all, God is pleased, but it will always draw other young men who are lacking in those areas to your life. And there are a lot of subjects that I talk about as a pastor, but one of the things that I think I do well, and you all can agree with me or disagree, but one of the things that I think I do well is cultivate relationships with young men. My father died when I was 11 years old, 12 years old. I didn't get a chance to know him very well and learn a lot about fatherhood. But in the 12 years that he was alive, he showed me what God really looks like in the short period of time that a lot of men who I've known for my whole life have done. So I learned the heart of God from that man, being a father, and having you at a young age, 16, 17, it pushed me into fatherhood sooner than I was ready to be a father. I missed a lot of my childhood years, but I thank God for that because it forced me to grow up. Because, of course, God knew I was going to have to raise some godly men in my life, and thank God that I'm able to demonstrate that to you all. So, having a godly heart, having compassion, having authority, and demanding respect is what fatherhood means to me.
Amen.
Mm,
Amen. I like that. I like that. For me,
that's
being
good.
the only other father here on the podcast, for me, fatherhood is being the first hero
Yeah,
that your kids have.
that's good.
They may reach an age like my son may have where they may not feel like you're cool anymore. But at the end of the day, you're the first superhero. You're
Right.
the first person, the first line of defense to the dangers and whatnots that the world bring that at least you're made aware of. I mean, there might be some things that happen that I don't know about. And if I've built that trust in him by setting the example that I had set for myself, he can be open and honest with me about that. And just being able to cultivate a relationship to where no matter what, like my son knows I have his back and he knows I'm a go forth and make sure that he can continue to be great and remove any barriers that might keep him from doing so. Um, and also do that for my daughter as well. I know it's all men on here. I do have a daughter as well, and I'm sure she's watching it and she's gonna be upset if she don't get mentioned or whatnot. You know how Ava is. But this next question
Greedy.
is for the two of you all, uh, James and Jordan. What is a lesson that you've learned from the man who came before you?
Mm.
We'll start with you, Jordan, since you said you was ready to talk.
Okay, all right. So a lesson that the people, the men that
Did he freeze?
Did he freeze? He
He told.
froze. He said he was ready to talk and he froze up on us.
Oh, are you talking about the men? The men, as in me and you, the men before them, me and you.
Yeah, as in the
Okay,
two of us.
yeah, he
Well,
froze
we'll
up.
give him a second to come back. He'll hop back in and we'll put him back on the stage. It can't be the internet because we're on the same internet and my connection is
Yeah.
perfectly fine.
Yeah,
So he froze up. Up, look, there he is. He's back.
yeah.
Let me add him back to the stage.
sorry about that.
What
Just a
happened? You
couple
froze
technical.
up?
Nope, nope, nope. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Okay, like I said, a lesson that I've learned from the men who came before me, um, is to be a leader and not to be a follower. I know that sounds pretty simple, but whenever you really take a deep dive into it, it helps you realize that whenever you're a leader, you trail your own path and you control everything that happens. So you don't have to. You can get help from people, but it helps you become a better person, and you help more people being a leader than you would just following somebody else. And that has helped me be a better student in class, be better sport wise, like on the field, on the court, and just to be a better person overall. To help other people strive in their areas, and yeah.
That's good. That's
Okay,
good.
that's great answer. Great answer. How about you, James? It's so weird calling
So
you James.
yeah, but basically, like what he said, being a leader, but not just being a leader, but making your own path, being sure in what you do, being like doing what you want to do, and being the best, like putting your best foot forward, stepping out into the world, and basically doing your own thing, but being confident in what you do.
Yeah, you definitely got to have that confidence because it's a lot of the fakeness that's out there. A lot of people get up there and they act like
Mhm.
they're confident in what they're doing, but then when you catch them when the cameras is off and you try to have them, stand on business as they say, they can't stand on it. Like oh, that's just for the cameras, because the people like to hear that. Now, the people want to see that.
Right.
Actions speak louder than words. You can say all day you're gonna do X, Y, and Z, but you gotta put some action behind that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. So, let me see. I'm gonna skip around a little bit. We got a couple different questions that because I wanted to keep us on task, and I don't want it to be so much, so scripted. Let's talk about. Okay, this is a great one for you, Dad, because you raised me, you still raising JR. This one is about fatherhood in different times. What are the differences or the different challenges that you faced in raising me versus raising JR?
Oh, that's a good one. I tell people all the time, raising you, I was 16, 17, still in high school. Man, I didn't know nothing, and I don't know much now. But 16 and 17, being hit with the fact that you're going to be a father, it's terrifying because I still had a lot of growing up to do myself. So to try to be a father when I didn't know what being a father meant that I was going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. And so, like I said, it helped me grow up a lot faster because I was trial by error. I was learning trial by error. The more I grew, the more mistakes I made. But as time went on, I learned from those mistakes. And so now I tell JR, he's getting the best version of me. Not that I wasn't a good version with you, I was doing the best I can, and it shows. But I'm wiser now. Some of the things that I would have done back then with you, I don't do with him as far as leading him, as far as talking to him, as far as opening up and telling him things that I didn't have the confidence to tell you because I wasn't a man yet. And so now I can sit down and talk to him about subjects that I couldn't talk to you about because I had not experienced them. So the older I have gotten, the more seasoned I have become. And I think that benefits JR better in this generation than it did you because in your generation, son, we didn't have streaming, live streaming. We didn't have
Hmm.
social media. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have Instagram. We didn't have all of these things that are tempting like JR does. So if I would have raised JR back in that era with the temptations he has today, I would be a terrible father because I would be unrelatable. But I can say raising him has made me wiser. And so I haven't made as many mistakes with him as I did with you. But thank God that I didn't make as many with you as some men has made with their sons overall.
Mm.
That's nice. Luckily, I only have to raise one kid, or I only have to raise him in this one generation.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not
I had two
for those.
different generations. Yeah.
Yeah, you had two different generations. Literally could be a generation between me and JR. The age gap between me and him is 20 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Crazy.
it's
That's
crazy,
crazy.
right? Um, let's see. That's another good question. For y'all, what do you feel like is one of the most difficult challenges that you all face growing up in this generation right now? Um, that will where you feel like you're gonna have to seek guidance either from myself or from your grandfather or dad.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I think like I don't know how to put it, but like false perspectives, like people making life seem different than like we can ask you because you've experienced more life than we have than compared to people we might see online. They might experience something and we might have questions about that. We might wonder, is that really going to happen to people like me and Jordan? but we have you to ask for like guidance on like life and stuff like that.
That's a good one. To add on to that, I think with the evolution of social media and the internet and all of that, we find ourselves trying to go to social media and the internet rather than our own parents to try to figure out how some things happen. And I think peer pressure is a great one because people are going to make you try to do stuff that you shouldn't do or you don't want to do. And it kind of goes back to what we said about lessons that we've learned from the people before us is to not just follow what people tell you to do, but to do what you feel is right. And if you don't want to do something, you tell them you're not going to do it because you know that it's bad. And, just come to your fathers first because they've seen everything. Well, maybe not everything, but they know a lot more than some of the people on the internet. So, yeah.
Okay, okay. And then kind of touching on that peer pressure situation, and then of course going back to the comments you all made about leadership, how do you stand firm in your beliefs when the crowd is always kind of pushing you in the other direction? Like how do you stand on what you believe in and what you know is right
Yeah,
without allowing it to affect how you're viewed by other people?
Hmm. That's a good one.
I mean, it might be hard to say this at like 15, but I know who I am. I know what decisions I'm going to make and what opinions I'm going to have. And I might not be like easily swayed into doing something because I'm gonna stand on what I know and what I say. But I can say that for myself that I do that.
Yeah, kind of what James said. Gosh, I'm so used to calling him Jr.
y'all
Call
just
him
It's
Uh,
call
all
just
right. You
call
JR.
him
can just
Jr.
say
It's
it.
more
Just say
comfortable
it.
to
Just
call
say
him
it.
Jr.
Just
all
say
right,
it.
so like he said, just knowing who you are will help you make decisions for yourself rather than just to look better for those people. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be about you making your own decisions will put you in the place you want to be whenever you grow up and reach adulthood. So it's all about knowing your worth and knowing um, the rights and the wrongs in the world.
All right. I'm gonna make sure I clip exactly that part. So the next time you come to me talking about everybody wants to go do da da da, I'm gonna play that back. I'm gonna play back the clip of you and everything you just said.
Oh my God, cooked.
Oh,
Got
wow.
him.
Everybody don't live in my house. Everybody don't eat my food. Everybody don't
Yeah, I
share
just
my
got
kitchen.
clipped. Yeah, I got clipped.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Clip farming.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
All right, Dad. This next one's for you. And I mean, this should be an easy answer for you. So, what role has faith, spirituality, or prayer played in your fatherhood journey?
Being raised in a God-fearing home makes all the difference, and that's cliche. I know it is, but that's who I am. You wouldn't have had me on this podcast if you didn't think I was going to talk about God. Whether you all stand on it like I do or not, now I know that you all are believers in God. You have faith, but whether you stand on it or not, we are alive because of the grace of God. And so, if it had not been, you hear this in church. If it had not been for the Lord on my side, where would I be? I have been put in some situations in life to where my mother couldn't help me, my father couldn't help me, my sisters couldn't help me. Had a whole lot of homeboys, got a lot of resources on the street. I know a lot of people. There are a lot of people who would help me if I needed help back in the day and even now. But God has a way of putting you in situations to where you can't depend on anybody but Him. And so my back had been up against the wall so many times in life to where I had to acknowledge the presence of God. And so the moment that I really owned up to my flaws and put my faith in God, the difference is what you see today. I would not have been able to raise you with the help of my mothers and my sisters, praise God, but I would not have been able to raise you on my own. I would not have been able to raise my other children. I would not have been able to be successful in the field of writing books and owning a business and running a church if it had not been for God. And so that's the mantle that I carry. I will die talking about what God has done for me, but I don't see myself living my life any other way without acknowledging the presence of God, who is the head of my life first.
Absolutely. And just to piggyback on that, as without necessarily asking myself the same question, um, I mean, it's just believing in the prayers that you put out there. A lot of people will say, "Pray for me," um, "Suit up a prayer for me," or whatever the case may be. And one thing that a lot of people don't realize is people might pray for you, but there are people who want to pray on you, and you got to be careful what you tell them. So being able to know that even when I have nobody else that I can talk to, I can still talk to my dad, or I can, if I don't feel like I can go to my dad for any reason, I can still go to God, and that allows me to know, hey, like what would my dad have done in this situation, and if I can't figure it out, I can have God show me the right direction to go, because there are differences between me raising a son now, although he's also raising a son now, but like he's raising his second son. I'm raising my first son. So it's like you had the experience of doing it before, and you had the help from God and your strong beliefs and your system around you to help you do that. And I have a similar system, but there's still situations where as a man my pride will get in the way, and I silo myself off, and I'm like, how can I figure this out? Well, I mean, if I built a silo around myself, the only way anything's gonna get to me is from above. So that's where the prayers got to go, and
Yeah.
that's where the answers got to come down from. So, um, if I didn't have faith, I would literally just be stuck in the silo, listening to my own worries and problems all the time, and eventually, I mean, that silo that I built around myself will become the grave that I have to bury myself in. So,
And let me jump on
um,
that. Let me jump on that, son, with you. As you said, I'm raising my second son, the joy in that is to be able to raise a second son with you raising your first son. Check this
yep,
out. I got an opportunity to raise you and make my mistakes, and if I ever made the statement to God in my private moments, God, if I had another opportunity to raise another son, I would do it better. So not only did he give me the opportunity to raise you at an early level, but he's also given me another opportunity with JR to raise another son alongside of you, giving me the opportunity to see what I taught you as you imparted into Alexander. So it's a replay. It's a divine replay. God not only will help you, but he'll also give you another replay. He'll give you a what they call it when you NBA. He'll give you a challenge flag, or you can review the play and you can go back and see what you did wrong if you made any mistakes. He's given me an opportunity to go back and redo this thing again, and that's what grace kicks in. Because I always said there are a lot of things I would not have done with you differently, but I can see now how you have taken the things that I did wrong and you do them right, right in the very presence of my face with Alexander. So that's great. That's great.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Now, for you, Jordan, JR, this next question is for y'all. How can we learn from each other despite the generational gaps?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because keep in
I
mind,
think.
although you two are technically in the same generation, JR is technically being raised by two generations above you. So
Mm-hmm.
he's in your generation, getting knowledge from two generations back. So he kind of has a bit of a benefit. Coming up in this generation, catching the same knowledge that I got, if not better, in that generation. So he's almost getting what you get and what I got.
Yeah. Yeah. Two times.
Go ahead.
Hmm. JR.
You got that first. Nah, you got that first.
That's a tough one.
Um.
You hit him with the heat right there, Jordan. You hit him with the heat.
Yeah. This is it's tough to put into words. Um.
You said you wanted to talk, you gonna talk, bro.
All right. Um. So since wow, this is a good question. Hold on. Okay,
We got
I
him
got it.
stumped.
So because even though we're only what year and a half, 2 years apart, that he's getting knowledge from two generations back, it allows him to kind of what you said, grow up here, but still learning from back there, and that gives him a better perspective on how the world has changed and the direction it's going in. And like you said, for me, even though um you're still not as old as your dad, obviously, you still giving me a good you giving me a good idea of how things go on in the world. But obviously, because his dad is older and he's been through more, he gets a better perspective, or yeah, he gets a better perspective on the trajectory of everything, society, and how things are gonna happen.
That's a good answer. I'd say, like, even from a young age, like my parents have told me you're gonna be a little bit more mature than kids around you just because your parents are a little bit older. And like I'm glad that they've been able to like bestow their knowledge onto me about the world and what they've experienced. And I've been able to gain that perspective. And even I can say myself, and I don't know if you'll agree, but I've been able to help Jordan some. Like I've been able to
Yeah.
I've been able to give knowledge that I've been able to give knowledge from him, from my father to Jordan, and I've been able to help. But even though he might not listen sometimes, um, but I'm just glad that I've been able to like retain that wisdom and even like be able to hear from it.
Yeah, yeah. Jordan, this one's for you. Do you feel like, I don't want to word this, not necessarily have an advantage, but do you feel like it's, I don't even know. I guess I'll just say, do you feel like you have an advantage because you have still your grandfather around? Because like my grandfather obviously was gone 5, 6 years before I was born. My grandfather on my mother's side, not sure when he passed, but all I have of him is a picture, so I know nothing of him. Um, JR, you got to know your grandfather for a little while, so like y'all can answer this. Do y'all feel like you learned something from your grandfathers that you'll be able to take and continue to pass down when you ever you guys have your own kids, but even apply even now?
That's a good question. I think even though you didn't want to call it an advantage, it's an advantage having somebody at that age giving you that much wisdom, because not a lot of people can say that they have their dad and their grandfather to give them all the information that they have to give, and it gives me a better outlook on the future because it shows me how things have happened generation by generation, and um, I think it helps me be better prepared for what's gonna happen, and I'm glad that I can get that from my father and my grandfather.
That's good.
Jr.
Um, I don't know if I can say the same because I wasn't around my grandfather on my mother's side that often, but I would say like for him it'd be an advantage to be able to have your father and your grandfather in your life. But yeah.
All right, all right, all right. So I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna give both of y'all the opportunity to ask us a couple of questions.
That's good. That's good.
Ooh.
Like
Okay.
right
Okay.
here, like what's something that you would want us to tell y'all or teach y'all that maybe we haven't already told or taught you? I mean, there's still more to learn. Obviously, we're still raising you guys and kind of raising ourselves because we're going through things that we've never gotten to experience. Even being like, although JR might be his second son, there's still different variations of raising him that he didn't get to experience with me. And then you are my only son. So, like, raising you is, it's every day is something new.
Mhm.
So, it's y'all's turns. Flip the tables. Y'all can ask a couple questions.
All
I
right.
already got one.
I got
I already
let me
got
say
one.
mine first. I got a question.
Okay. All
Wow.
right. All
Obviously,
right.
They ready. They ready. They ready.
All right.
I was just ready to ask my own questions.
Okay.
Even even though we already know that the father gives the kid a lot of information about the world, how does having a son at a younger age, how does that hmm how do I word this? How does it help you see the world from a younger person's perspective? Yeah.
Uh, I'll touch on this a little bit because I mean, I was I was young-ish when you were born. I was 22, but I was still coming into my own and trying to learn who I was and trying to navigate things in life in general was already crazy because it was like a turning of the tides in the world in general. Like when you were born in 2011, like social media and stuff was really taking off. Everybody was kind of switching up how they do life and how they just do things and whatnot. So it was trying to adjust to that while also trying to make sure that I'm capable of protecting you from the new dangers that were to come. Like there are dangers that are out there now that weren't necessarily there when I was coming up. So my dad didn't have to worry about protecting me from those. I never anticipated having to protect somebody from that stuff, but now I do. So, um, trying to be able to make sure that I'm a good role model and can lead by example, and it's not just a do as I say, not as I do situation. I try not to ever ask of you anything that I didn't do or that I won't still do. And I even apply that in work, like as a manager or when I was a manager, I would never ask my employees to do something I didn't have to do when I was in their job or that I wouldn't still do. I don't ask you to do, and I know sometimes it might be annoying. Hey, go feed Layla, go take the trash out, different stuff like that. Can you imagine coming home from not being at home an entire weekend to a bowl and a spoon in the sink and you get told to go wash them dishes? I'm just saying, be happy that we use the dishwasher
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
I
That's a
was
Mm-hmm.
the
fact. That is a
dishwasher
fact.
before. But I mean that's just kind of what it is. Like it's just doing that at a young age. Like I had in my mind the things that I didn't necessarily like growing up, and I was like, I'm not going to do that to my kids. But then I always remember in the back of my mind, there's a lot of things that my dad would have me do, or he would say to me, and he'd be like, "You don't understand it now, but one day you will. When you have your own son, you gonna understand this. When you have your own kids, you gonna understand this." And I catch myself now saying something to you, and then I might pause, and you may not notice it. I'll be like, "Ah, that's what he was talking about,"
My dad
and
used to
it
say
still hits.
that.
It still hits. So I mean, and it's a generational thing. I tell you now, hey, I'm telling you this because one day you gonna understand it because he did the same thing to me. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, he could probably speak a little bit more on at a younger age because he was still in high school when I was born. So,
Yeah, yeah. I can touch on that, grandson. Being younger, raising a son, it made me slow down. It made me slow down and pay attention to my son. My life was fast paced. I was doing a lot of stuff that was illegal. I was doing a lot of things that didn't make sense, that didn't have substance, that wouldn't benefit me now. And so it made me slow down and pay more attention to his life because his life was more important than mine. I knew that as a 16, 17-year-old man, a young man trying to raise a son, he was going to be looking at what I do, not what I say. And so the best sermon that a person wants to experience is the one that they can see and not hear. So that's the one thing that helped me more than anything when I was raising Jordan at a young age was to slow down. I had to slow down. I had to stop, realize that my life wasn't as important as I thought it was, but I had to slow down and think about you got somebody else that's going to be looking up to you. You got somebody else you're going to have to feed and take care of. And that made me slow down and just be more aware of his needs and not mine.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
all right, Jr.,
Would you
your
say,
question?
oh, I was just gonna piggyback off what he just said. Would you say that
Oh, okay.
having Jordan as a younger age would like made you less selfish like in those high school years?
Yeah, it did. That's kind of what I was saying.
Yeah.
I didn't do many things that had to do with my needs. It
Hmm.
was always my son, and I always had a vision. Y'all may not believe this, but I always had the vision, even when I was in high school, that I was going to be a grandfather that was still actively involved in my grandkids' life. And so that was my prayer. I wanted to make sure I keep my body in shape. I want to make sure I keep my mind intact. I want to make sure that I keep myself out of trouble with the law because I want to be around for my grandkids. And so, yeah, that helps me not to be selfish because you all will see that as well. When you get to a certain age, life will humble you. Life will make you slow down, and life will make you realize that there are people coming behind you who are going to need you more than you feel like you need yourself. That doesn't make a lot of sense right now, but it'll make sense when you're grown men raising kids and they're looking up to you and they're looking to you for guidance, understanding, and wisdom as well. So yeah, that's a pretty good question right there.
Mhm. Would you say, like, is there anything you've learned, like, through your years of living that you would go back and tell yourself at a younger age, think like
Yeah,
13 or 15? Like,
yeah.
tell your, and yeah.
Let me answer this first, Jordan. This is what, and y'all gonna laugh, but I don't want you to take this the wrong way. What I would have done differently is I would have left the girls alone. I would have
Hmm.
left the girls alone. I got 4 kids. I
Mm.
love y'all to death. Y'all know that. I raised all my kids in the admonition of the Lord. Y'all know that. But I'm not supposed to have 4 kids, and that's just the way
Hmm.
it is. The way God ordained it. You're supposed to be married. But I would have left the girls alone because if I would have left the girls alone, I would have been able to go to college when I wanted to. I would have been able to have some more things. I'm doing pretty successful now. Don't get me wrong, but I would have experienced more things differently than I do now because I feel like the women kind of stunted my growth. They stunted my spiritual growth because, like you say, Jr., being with a lot of women back then, I was being selfish. I was thinking about
Hmm.
myself.
Yeah.
So if I could go back and tell young PJ Diggs some things, it would be get your education first, get paid first, get the woman last. And that would be my thing. But I don't have any regrets about any of my children. Y'all have taught me a lot, and God can use our mistakes just as He can use our successes, and He did both with me. But that's what I would tell the younger generation. And I told Jordan to tell you this. I even told Jordan when he got to the age to where he was liking girls, I said, don't give your power. Jordan, you remember this. Don't give your power away before you're supposed to. And that just simply means don't give a woman your seed unless she's worthy to help you raise your own son.
And
Mm.
I was lucky enough to not be the first of his children to have a kid. So it made it so much easier whenever I found out that I was having a kid. Because I didn't just pop up like,
Yeah,
surprise, you're gonna be
yeah,
I
yeah.
literally shot him a text message and was like, oh hey, you're gonna be a grandpa again.
I
And
appreciate that,
his
son. I
and his
appreciate that.
immediate his immediate reply to that text message was congratulations, it's a boy.
Yeah,
And he was right.
I appreciate
So
that.
I don't know how he has this gift of always predicting the gender of his grandkids like spot on, but
Yeah,
he's if he could play the lottery like that, we'd all be rich.
I wish I
For
could.
me, same thing, or not same thing. I have no regrets on how I came up. Obviously, I made it all the way through school, but I wasn't real big on the idea of like college and things like that. And I procrastinated. I was a habitual procrastinator. There's even certain things now that I still will procrastinate on solely because I know that I can still get the job done or even better, even if I wait. And unfortunately, that's kind of sometimes what makes me procrastinate. Like,
Hmm.
hey, I know if I can do this in 20 minutes and get the same result that it took you 3 weeks to get it, why am I going to do it for 3 weeks?
Yeah,
Um, but if I hadn't
Mm.
procrastinated my way through like high school and things like that, maybe I would have not necessarily gone to college, but at least put forth the effort to do something that would have given me a better foundation to become the man that I eventually became in my 30s. Like I feel like my 20s ended up being more of my teens
yeah,
than my teens were, and my 30s are now like me being able to enjoy being an adult. I mean, I'm in my mid 30s. I got a teenage son. I got a daughter who's almost double digits. Like most people are just now having kids. I can leave my kids at home
yeah,
and go do things and go enjoy life. But I will say that I would tell the younger me, like, quit being, it wasn't even lazy because I would do it. I would just wait.
that's
Don't be
right.
a procrastinator. That's the biggest
Yeah,
thing. Like, I
yeah.
wasn't lazy. My grades weren't bad. I would get, like, I'd come home and dad would be like, hey, you got homework? No. All right. Better not see them grades come down. They didn't. I didn't do the homework. I would do it at school.
Yeah,
And I see the same thing even with you now. Jordan, you come home and I'll be like, you got homework? No, I did it at school.
Yeah.
But the grades are still high. So whether you did or
Hmm.
didn't do it at school, your grades aren't bad. So who knows? It's getting done. So I mean, I can applaud that, and I see that bit of myself in you in doing that. Just don't become a procrastinator. Just
that runs in
because
the
you're great
family.
at something.
Procrastination runs in the family, and I think all of us who are D's would admit that we are so gifted at what we do to where we know we can get it done. And so
Yeah.
sometimes giftedness can also be a flaw because you know you're good at it. Why do I need to put so much time into it? So you get that honestly. I'm like that even now as a pastor.
Yep. Y'all got any more questions, or y'all want to
I
turn it
just
back
came up
over to
with
me?
I just came up with another one. I just came up with another one.
Okay. Okay.
In in what ways do you see yourself in us, whether it be
Ah, that's a
physically
good
or
one.
our
That's a good one.
Ooh,
mannerisms?
You go first,
he's
Jordan.
talking.
Okay. Okay. So for me, and so this is funny. This isn't necessarily just me seeing myself in my son. I see my dad in my son, and it's the gift of gab. We can talk to anybody
Yeah,
about anything
yeah,
with ease, whether we know everything about it or just a little bit about it. Is the ability to talk to people. And some people might say, "Oh, you know, people who can talk like that, like you can't trust them or whatever." It was like it's not that you can't trust me, just know that I'm always gonna be prepared to say something. Like I got voted most witty numerous times in school, and it was like I was the quiet kid, but if you say something to me sideways, I always had something to say back.
yeah, yeah,
And my like me being able to talk like that got me into and out of a lot of trouble. There are a lot of tickets that I should have gotten that I didn't get. There are a lot of fights that I should have been in that I didn't get into. And
yeah,
it was because I was able to talk around the situation. I didn't run from it. I stood there prepared to fight. But I mean, logic overruled. I just made somebody, feel super dumb. But I noticed that it's real easy. And even for you, JR, like I know both of y'all can sit there as goofy as y'all are, you can have an intellectual conversation. This is
yeah,
proof of it.
yeah,
None of what we've been talking about on this has been scripted. I mean, I got questions up here and I went off questions 30 minutes ago.
yeah.
But it's just I see that in him. And sometimes it's funny when he's not doing it to me. And then sometimes I'll be like, all right, now chill. Like you're doing too
Mm-hmm.
much.
Hmm.
So that I definitely see that because I know I used to push my dad's buttons sometimes, and now I get those same buttons pushing me.
Yeah. That's real. The gift of gab is a great gift to have, and that doesn't mean we're crafty or cunning or conniving. That just means you have something up here. People who have always have something to say in any genre or any conversation, that just means you're equipped to have the conversation. One of the things I see in both of my sons, both of y'all, is y'all's ability to stick to it. I was talking to JR's mother a while ago, and we were playing basketball. I think, JR, you remember you came home and I had cut your thumb. We were playing basketball. It was a good game. We had first started playing, and I cut your thumb. And I talked to your mom about it, and she said he's cut his thumb, but he's in there talking about he's ready to play another game. And it's that drive. Y'all have that drive. You will not let nobody keep their foot on your neck. You're not gonna let nobody tell you that you can't do it. Y'all got that from me. I've been told so many times in my life, you can't do this. You won't be able to do that. When we built this church, I was told that I will not be accomplished. I will ruin this church. It will crumble in 3 or 4 years. This church has been here for almost 20 years. And that's just the drive that I have. And I see that in JR. I see that in you, Jordan. Y'all have that drive to keep doing. And we use people's doubts as fuel. And that's perhaps one of the greatest gifts God has given to a man because you're going to be told you can't do it. You're going to be told you're not qualified. You're going to be told you don't have the credentials. But just because man says it doesn't mean God says it's true. So I see that in Alexander as well on the basketball court. He is determined to get around me with that crossover dribble. And I love it. I love it because he's good at it now. He's good at it. I used to be able to hold him. I can't hold him too much no more now, but it's just, somebody telling you can't do it, that's fuel. Keep using that fuel for your success in life.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Absolutely. Jordan, you got another one?
Yeah. This should be a good one. What are some things that y'all two have learned from us that maybe you would not have known without having us as y'all's kids?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Can I answer that first?
Mm. Yeah, you can go first because I got to
I've
think on
learned to
that.
be I've learned to be more compassionate dealing with y'all. Um, I didn't have a brother. Jordan was more my brother at 17 than any other brother. I was raised by girls, but I've learned to be more compassionate and more sensitive to y'all's needs. We talk a lot, and I ask y'all questions, and I expect y'all to be honest with me because I'm not asking y'all questions just because I feel like talking. I really want to know what's going on. because I understand that most male problems, adult male problems, stem from childhood issues. And so I've learned to ask questions and watch y'all. I watch y'all's body language. I watch how you interact with other people. And it's taught me how to be more compassionate and concerned with what's going on in your lives as well. When JR comes home from school, I never ask him, do you have a good day? Did you have a good day? I ask him particular questions. What happened in third period? What if they teach in fourth period? How did you feel about this? How did you feel about that? Because I actually care about what happened in your life. And too many young men come home with issues, problems, and they don't have anybody to be honest and genuine with. So I've learned, I play a lot, y'all play a lot, y'all know I think I'm cool, I think I'm old, but it's all good that y'all still respect me enough to have a real genuine conversation. And y'all have taught me to be a little bit more compassionate in my older days.
Mm, that's good.
I would like to piggyback off that a little bit. Not only the compassion, but learning to take that extra second to think it through before
Yeah,
reacting.
yeah,
Um, I would say, and my dad can attest to this. Cindy's in the chat; she could attest to this. I wasn't a bad kid. I
no.
didn't get very many whoopings or anything.
You
I didn't
got
get
one, you got
grounded
one
very
whooping.
often.
You got one whooping.
Yeah, yeah. I catch a straight fist to the chest, but no whoopings. Um, and I would say the same even for you, Jordan. Like you're not a bad kid. Um, I had to learn to be a little bit more patient because your maturity level has always been higher than the average kid your age. And I feel like I admired that about you so much that when you would do something that any other kid your age would do, I would just immediately be disappointed by it. But like, why would he do that? Well, because he's a kid that age, regardless of how mature he is. And I had to learn over time to quit reacting so quickly to that because, yeah, you might be 13, but I may see your maturity level somewhere higher than that. I won't put a number to it so your head don't get too big. But when you do things that a 13-year-old would do, even if it's something that I don't want you to do, or I'm just like, why would he act like that? Because I see your maturity level up here. I have to stop and take a moment and be like, all right, remember, like, what were you doing at 13? It may not necessarily be the same as what you do or can do or have access to at 13, but it was still something that I had to learn back and think on. And not only learning to do that with you, it helped me even like in work when my reps would do stuff and I look at that, it was like, man, when I was a rep, I would have never done that. What's wrong with you? Well, they're reps now. They're not reps 10 years ago. Different business, different generation of reps, different generations of men. That's the biggest thing that I've had to learn is stop. Like there was this little what cartoon was it? It was something I used to watch on PBS 13. It was like stop, breathe, count to three. It was like this little jingle that they would say. And I catch myself doing that like when before reacting to something because a split second decision can ruin or end a life, regardless of what it is. Like I just seen unfortunately on X a live video or it was a recording of a live video between two YouTubers. They were beefing online or whatever and stuff got out of hand and one of them unalived the other one on live.
Wow.
And that was a split second decision that bro made that not only ended someone else's life, but effectively ended his own because he reacted too quickly off his own emotions.
Wow.
So learning not to do that with you has, I mean, it's been a great learning opportunity for me, and it's allowed me to be able to do so many things in life that I probably wouldn't have because my knee-jerk reaction to a lot of things is not appropriate for me to say in front of y'all or on this podcast.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Keep it PG.
absolutely. Somebody in the
Mm.
chat said Jordan is a whole 18-year-old. That's because he's like 5 inches taller than you, sir. I'm sure you can guess who that was, Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I forgot where the okay. So I got a question. How do you feel the overall family element has changed? And this is really for everybody because we've all kind of got to experience the differences of how families come together in our lifetimes. How do you feel society and the way the world is has changed the family dynamic as far as like families coming together to be with and around each other?
it should make you, and I'm just going to take the lead on this, it should make you value the importance of family more than ever. With the way this world is headed now, and if you want to look at politics and you want to look at how things are happening in society, at the end of the day, what you have is who you believe in and who believes in you. And that's usually your family. And so, if your family is a good core group, if that's a good cultivated group, it should make you value them and treasure them even more because at the end of the day, that's what's going to matter the most is the people who sow into you, the people who believe in you, the people who grew up with you, and the people who nurtured you. That's your family. So when everybody else walks out, your family should still be there to step in because they are the ones who have been through the ups and downs with you. We should value family a lot more. And a lot of people look at our family, and truth be told, a lot of people are jealous of, I wouldn't just say our family, but families like Jordan, like you said at the beginning, who still get along with each other, who still love each other, who can still tolerate each other, who can do podcasts, who can still have game night, because so many families are at odds. They're holding grudges from 10, 20, 50 years ago that their mothers and fathers had, and they don't even know why they mad at each other. But we have a family that's still closely knit. We have our differences, but we still make sure we have game night. We still make sure we do things together because family is what matters the most.
Yeah. I would definitely say one thing that not one thing, just something that I've noticed is like when I was younger, there were a lot more family get-togethers.
Mm-hmm.
The family would get together just because.
Yeah,
And it didn't matter what was going on. It didn't matter how long it's been since y'all seen each other. You would get together just because. And then just as time has gone on, and it could just be because people grow up and they inadvertently grow apart. People move around, different things like that. It just happens. But I feel like one thing that happens to a lot of families that try to maintain that is the death of a cornerstone in the family
matriarch or
that can
patriarch.
cause that. Yeah, the
Yeah,
matriarch or patriarch of the family, when that person's gone, you want to uphold that in their memory and in their honor, but it becomes difficult to do, not because you're at odds with the people that are left. It just don't feel the same.
mm-hmm.
And I feel like obviously for us, a lot of that happened when Nana passed. Like there wasn't a lot of family get-togethers, and we've done a great job at bringing it full circle and coming back together, doing family trips and things like that. Those are things we didn't do before.
Yeah,
Like I could imagine Nana would have loved going to Broken Bow or scheduling a cruise or even just going down to the lake house or something like that. Those were probably things that she probably would have enjoyed, but we didn't necessarily do it back then for whatever reason, but we do it now. So we've started a new family tradition post that situation.
yeah,
And it's just like there used to always be family reunions and cookouts at the park. Like churches don't even do like church picnics anymore. Like
nah,
it's not even just the families. Like congregations don't congregate like they used to. Like you can't even call them a congregation because they don't get together.
yeah,
So it's like the community within the family, within the church, within the actual communities just aren't there anymore. And at some point, somebody's gonna have to find a way to bring it back together before just the sense of community is completely lost. And I feel like as we've gotten older, it's getting more difficult to do it because those who are willing to try either have gotten to an age where they don't have the fight in them to try anymore.
yeah,
They don't want to try anymore. They tried and didn't get the response they wanted, whatever the case may be. And I feel like one thing that I would say for you guys as the younger generation, bring back the family element,
yeah,
whether it be just spending time with just the two of y'all or everybody together or whatever the case may be. If we can't get the family element back together, like that's a torch that has to be able to be passed on to you guys because w- without it, we become a generation of people that's like, yeah, I got a relative. I don't know where they are. I don't know
yeah,
if they're alive. I don't know if they're dead. I don't know if they're locked up. You find out about relatives when you become a celebrity and they start popping out of the woodwork, or if you catch them on the obituary. Those are two terrible reasons to be finding out about family.
yep,
So
yep, yep.
that's definitely something. Hold on, we got a question in the chat. Uh, and this one's from Ali. This one's for you, Dad. It says, "Is it okay to cut off family that just completely ignore you, or do we do what we can to reconcile? No bad blood or anything. Feels like it's one-sided of trying to reach out."
Wow, that's a good question, Ali. I see it. Um, it's not okay to cut them off. You don't want to do that, but sometimes you have to. And so that's my answer. We all have a scenario. We all have people in our families that we would love to try to get with, but some people aren't reachable. And you have to make the distinction who's worth your time. And so if you've reached out and you've done everything to try to love those individuals, those family members, but every time you bring them around, they're problematic, then you're going to have to cut ties with them. You either love me or you love me from a distance. And so I feel like it's not okay, but sometimes it's necessary.
I
Good
agree.
question. Good question, Ali.
It can come from a lot of different things, and you guys can speak on this too. Even not necessarily family that y'all have cut off because you really can't cut nobody off. You don't have no way to stay away from them. But even friends and things like that. Sometimes your lifelong friends you got to cut off because it's just. I mean, you grow apart. It is what it is. And if it comes from disrespect or things feel like it's one-sided, the funniest thing that I used to hear people say, and people still tell me this, they'd be like, the phone works both ways.
Right,
Well, it only works both ways if the person on the other side is willing to communicate.
right, right.
Otherwise, like you what is even the point? If you're always reaching out to them, but they're not reaching back, stop. If they can't appreciate your presence, make them experience your absence and then see what happens.
My reach only goes so far. You got to meet me where my reach ends. And
Yep.
I would give Ali, you have to meet me where my reach ends. And if you're not willing to meet me halfway, then what's the point? You can only try so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and again, it can come from who knows what reason, but there's really never, I feel like there's never a good reason to cut someone off, but it's a necessary evil.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So it is what it is. But we're coming up on the time, so I don't wanna go too crazy. So we're gonna do one last little round table. Um, this first question is for the two of you, or really for everybody. We'll make this our last question, and I'll go last. What did you learn from this conversation today? We'll start with you, Jordan.
Um, I've learned to value what we have. Just seeing three generations on one screen, you're not gonna come, you're not gonna come, and see that a lot. So just, um, being able to talk like this between all three generations has given me, a it helps. Wow, that's I'm really stumped right now. Um, you know what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say that like it's awesome to see that us four can come and talk like this, and just to see that I hope inspires other people to stay in touch with their parents and their grandparents if they still have them. And I think it's a great opportunity that we had today to speak.
I can say it's important, like realizing how important that bond is that you can share, not even just having a father, but being close with your father, being close with other males in your family, just like that. It's almost like a brotherhood, but like we're not brothers, but well, you know,
Yeah.
but
I'm like, what? Hold on, you trying to tell me something,
no,
JR? What you
no,
mean we
no,
not
no,
brothers?
no, 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 no,
That
no.
ain't your real
But
man. That ain't
but you
your
know what
real
I mean.
daddy.
You know what I mean. It's like a brotherhood, but we're not all brothers. We're not all brothers. It's like
Yeah,
we find that comfort within each other. We learn from each other. We bounce off of each other. It's just what we do, and I think it's important to cherish that. Yeah.
yeah. For me, what I learned today is there's not too much different from what you guys are experiencing, what I experienced growing up, and what he experienced growing up versus what he experienced being my dad when I was younger, what I'm experiencing being Jordan's dad, and what he's experiencing even again in raising you. And there are screaming and loud differences, obviously, because the world is different now in the 2020s versus what it was when I was coming up in the late 1900s, as they would say. And like,
Cool.
it's just, Yeah, it makes it sound like a long time ago when you say it that way. But like my biggest thing that I've learned is life goes on. But when you've got people that you can do life with, as far as that, people who understand, like that have been down this road. We spoke on leadership and blazing your own path. But when you blaze a path for somebody to follow it. So the path that I have followed, at least for the foundation of this trip as a through fatherhood, which is, I mean, fatherhood is one of the craziest hoods you ever have to go to. But I came down this path that was built by my father. He came down the path that was built by his father. You guys are traveling down a path that we are trying to lay out for you all so that at some point in your life, when it's time for you to be a father, you then can deviate off of that path and create your own path for the next generation to go. I also learned today that you guys are very articulate, and it's not just the giggles and little jokes and crazy noises that y'all be making all the time. Y'all are, I know the grades show that
Yeah.
y'all are smart, but y'all sometimes I question it, man. Them
Smart.
boys ain't right. I tell you what.
I mean, that's
Smart.
But
fair. That's fair.
They
I
smart,
must
man.
I
say.
They
see where you're
smart.
coming from. I see where you're coming from.
What I've learned is that a cord of three strands or a cord of four strands in our case, a cord of four strands are not easily broken. So when you have us coming together like this, it has tightened our bond. As men, we are the foundations of our family. We got to carry that Diggs name on, and so there will be forces that try to come against the name, and there will be forces that try to come against the efforts that we try to put forth. We're all gifted in different ways, but it will be hard to break this band that we have built here today. So I appreciate being a part of this and learning from a grandson and learning from both of my sons as well, even though we're generations apart. It has truly been a blessing today.
amen, amen. And no matter the era, love, presence, and legacy never go out of style. This is what fatherhood looks like across generations. We
Facts.
thank you all for tuning in tonight
Strong.
to the Touching You Talk Show. Thank you again to Elder Sheila Black for giving us a platform to share something that is rare, that is not easily done, and probably won't be seen very often. But we thank you for this opportunity. For those of you that tuned in live, and for those of you who are watching this on your own time, we thank you. May God bless. Y'all have a great night.
Have a good one.